Interlude 6. Home from Mount Speculation. 26th of December 2033. Narre Warren, Melbourne, Victoria. The drive back to Melbourne felt like a portal between worlds. From smoke-choked mountain roads to the straight, familiar asphalt of the Monash. From fire-scarred alpine scrub to endless rows of houses under heat-shimmering tin roofs. From flight and monsters to traffic lights, petrol stations, and service station coffee that tasted exactly as awful as I remembered. I didn't care that the coffee was bitter. It had caffeine. By the time the skyline thinned into outer suburbia, I realised what was missing. There was no panic and no chaos, just the city being its ordinary self. Somewhere on that long, ordinary stretch of the Monash, I cashed one of the Fortress rewards in while David took the wheel. I claimed an equipment crate and cracked it just enough to pull the single item free, a tiny, dull silver pendant on a black cord. It was heavy, far heavier than any normal metal. On one side displayed an exquisite carving in the shape of a human eye, with the pupil replaced by a clock face. The other face contained a simple X, and when I ran my thumb over it, the item's mana signature entered my mind unbidden, as did the item's name. Pendant of Divination, D97214520. What an uninspired name. Whoever had come up with it wouldn't have lasted a day at music school. I'd asked David's opinion, but I guessed the D referred to its power. I tucked it away and left the second crate sealed. When we reached Mum's house in Narre Warren, the only crisis on that street were two neighbours arguing about an overflowing recycling bin. I'd feared we'd find Melbourne in ruins, magic crackling through the suburbs, dragons perched on the Eureka Tower. Instead, the trains ran on time, lawn sprinklers clicked in front gardens, and a delivery van rolled past with 30% off for Boxing Day, stenciled in red and green across the side. For the first time in what felt like ages, I let myself believe we might be okay. Inside was a house I'd visited often since Mum moved years back. Familiar faded carpet, mismatched mugs stacked by the sink, and the walls, still plastered with Mum's protest posters. The old ones I remembered, no war in Iraq, and climate justice now. And they'd been joined by newer slogans, Eritrea and Sudan, bring our troops home now. David disappeared into the kitchen to boil a kettle, giving us space and a promise of better caffeine. Mum barely let me get through the door before hugging me, hard enough that my ribs creaked. She pulled back, eyes sharp. You're safe? You look safe. I heard about fires and... She caught herself. You're safe. I smiled. Yep, we're safe. We sat down at the kitchen table, the news droning in from the old radio in the corner. Mum loved her ancient tech, not just a radio, but an analogue clock too. Tensions remain high in the Horn of Africa, but a fragile peace is still holding in Eritrea. Funerals are being held today for 6 brave Australians and 20 American heroes killed in last week's clashes. China has yet to offer any formal condolences, but government officials are urging calm while making clear Beijing's escalating aggression cannot go unanswered. The announcer's voice was smooth, urgent, and persuasive, every word framing the story the same way. Our heroes, their fault. Mum muttered under her breath. Same bloody script every time. Her eyes flicked towards the posters. I hesitated, then blurted the words before nerves could catch up. Mum, David finally proposed. It's finally happening. For a heartbeat, she just stared at me. Then her face creaked into light. She pulled me into another hug, laughing, crying all at once. Oh, Amy, that's wonderful. About bloody time too. He's a good man. We laughed, and for a few minutes it was pure joy. Talks of rings, of weddings, of silly family jokes. For a moment, it was like the last 2 days hadn't happened. But when the laughter faded, I stayed at the table, hands clasped tight. Mum, I said quietly, there's something else. Something that will sound mad. I need you to know. And I told her about the fire, the healing, the monsters, the fortress. The words tumbled out so fast, too fast, like I was afraid they'd stop the instant I slowed down. Her eyes stayed steady on me, weighing every word. Then I pushed my chair back, went to the old bookcase, and pulled the barbell from Mum's weight rack. 60 kilos at least. I curled it up one-handed like it was nothing. Mum's lips pressed thin. Then, with a deep breath, I let the wings unfurl. Heat rippled through the air. Feathers of fire edged in steel spread wide, too large for the little lounge room. Their glow lit up every protest poster on the wall. Mum didn't scream. Didn't faint. She just went quiet. Finally, she spoke, low and certain. Amy, they'll take you away. Or worse, they'll try to make you do their dirty work in Eritrea. I forced a laugh. Mum, nobody even knows. Melbourne's fine. You heard the news. It's all Phobos landings, faraway problems and bushfire alerts. Nobody cares. Nobody's looking for a girl with wings and fire magic. She shook her head. For now. But when they do find out, they won't see a person. They won't see my daughter. They won't care that it's you. They'll see a weapon. And weapons exist only to be used. I wanted to argue, to tell her she was wrong, that she was overreacting, but her words stuck. I set the new pendant on the table between us. At least, let this help keep you safer. We don't know much about it, but it's a pendant of divination. It should help you notice trouble before it happens. Mum studied it, tried to nudge it back to me with 2 fingers, then gave up and used both hands. Nah, love. The second I wear a magic trinket, I paint a target on myself. You keep it. I slid the cord back into my pocket. Alright. I folded my wings away, sat back down, and took her hand. I'll be careful, I said softly. Everything will be fine. The lie tasted as bitter as a shitty service station coffee.